The story begins with Rhiannon thinking about all the people she dislikes. She makes a list of those she would want to get rid of. The list includes strangers who bother her on public transport, a shop worker who is always rude, and her boss who never notices her hard work. She does not get along with anyone at her office. She also includes Craig, a man who stopped talking to her after spending one night together. Her sister Seren is on the list for ignoring her, and their mother for leaving them both years ago. She remembers Julia, a girl from school who made her feel invisible. The last name is her father, Tommy. She would have included him too, but he is already dying. She feels alone and taking care of him. She visits her father in the hospital and finds him lying still. For a moment, she thinks he is dead. Then he suddenly moves and laughs, saying it is just a joke. He tells her to be strong and stop letting people push her around. Later, he starts coughing badly, but she cannot ask the nurse for help. She feels too shy. Her silence causes his death. At the funeral, her sister Serene comes late. She acts strange around her. Craig is also there but avoids her. The person leading the funeral keeps saying her name the wrong way. Things feel worse when Julia shows up. She has returned to town after being away. Even her aunt does not recognize her and thinks she works at the event. Rhiannon tries to speak with Craig, but he walks away. Julia acts like they are strangers and tries to make small talk. Rhiannon feels shocked. Seren smiles and talks warmly with Julia. The day gets even worse when Seren says she wants to sell their family house. She plans to buy a new one in France. Julia is in charge of the sale. Seren tells Rhiannon to stop holding on to old pain and to join the upcoming school reunion. The house feels quiet and cold. Rhiannon finds an old wig that brings back memories. She wants to return to work with new energy. She hopes to show strength this time. At the office, no one notices her return. Everyone acts like she does not exist. She gathers courage and goes to Norman. She says she wants to apply for the junior reporter role. He once gave her hope that she would grow beyond her job as a secretary. He smiles in a fake way and gives her a pet name. Then he tells her that she must be strong to be a real reporter. She says she is ready to learn, but he tells her to throw her CV away. Feeling angry, she walks back to her desk. There is a new person, AJ. He greets her kindly, and she feels better for a moment. The joy ends quickly. AJ gets the job she wanted. His mother knows Norman, so he is given the chance without effort. Rhiannon speaks her shock, but no one listens. A dark thought comes to her mind. She wants to harm AJ. She grips a knife, follows him, and cuts her own hand by mistake. AJ notices her bleeding. She hides her feelings and asks for his work email. AJ seems unsure and wonders if she is angry about the job. She tells him to leave and goes out to walk her dog, Tink. She sees Julia's face on a large billboard for her real estate work. Her phone buzzes with updates from Seren about the house sale. Before she can process everything, Tink runs into the road and is hit by a car. One strand of Rhiannon's hair falls out. Her pain becomes too much. She gets drunk and buries Tink. Then she leaves a voice message for Seren. She says that she still lives in the house, so Julia has no right to sell it. She decides to speak up and heads to the reunion. Her plan is to confront Julia. The reunion turns into a mess. Julia laughs at her and says she is crazy. She blames Rhiannon for her own troubles. Julia's friends gather around, making Rhiannon feel small again. Her mind flashes back to prom night when Julia pulled off her wig in front of everyone. On her way out, she hears Julia telling lies. Julia says she never did anything to hurt her. People keep bumping into Rhiannon. She runs away, feeling lost. Her hand clutches the knife, and her mind spins with thoughts. A man comes near and urinates on her by accident. He laughs and says he didn't see her there. Rhiannon slices his shirt in anger. He threatens her, and she stabs him. She raises her voice and asks him if he sees her now. Suddenly, she realizes what she has done. She drags his body to the river and pushes it into the water. On her walk home, people step aside to let her pass. Back at home, she faces the mirror and screams with full force. Rhiannon wakes up at home and walks to the mirror. Her mind is playing tricks on her. She sees blood on her face. In the bathtub, her clothes from last night soak in water, stained with blood. The knife sits close. She pulls out the clothes, adds them to the laundry, and removes her shirt to include it too. She notices the empty dog bed. The room feels quiet and cold. The doorbell rings. She throws on a robe and opens the door. Craig stands there. He makes a comment about her looks and then brings up wanting to buy her father's business. She says little and closes the door. Inside, she puts a kettle on and looks at the basket holding the knife. Her thoughts race. She drops the knife into the boiling water. On the bus to the Carncham Gazette, she sees Julia's face on another billboard. Near the river, a crowd gathers where she left the body. Her stomach tightens. At work, she looks up news from Meadow Lane Lock but finds nothing. AJ greets her with tea, smiling. Norman appears and asks the team for headlines. The ideas are boring. Roadworks and pigeons. He's frustrated and asks about Jeff. Jeff rushes in with news of a body found in the canal. The office becomes alert. Norman gets excited and tells Rhiannon to make tea. Jeff and Norman start discussing what it could mean. Rhiannon blurts out that it was murder and says it happened near Meadow Lane Lock. She claims she overheard people on the bus. Jeff doubts it means anything. She says the victim was stabbed. He says that's hearsay. AJ says they should still check it out. Norman praises AJ and forgets Jeff said it first. Jeff later returns with confirmed details. A jogger found the body. The victim is a man in his mid-20s with 14 stab wounds. Rhiannon freezes as the memory hits her. Norman calls the killer a monster. Jeff adds that water ruined the DNA. Norman suggests gang activity and says they need the victim's identity and a family statement. A press conference is coming soon. Rhiannon tries to glance at Jeff's notebook. AJ notices and asks about it. She says she can't read shorthand and reminds him she's not the junior reporter. She only wanted to see if Jeff had missed something. AJ asks if she's okay. She admits she feels shaken. He agrees the whole thing is unsettling. He says the police will catch whoever did it. She doubts that, bringing up unsolved cases. He stays hopeful. He says this one feels different. Back at her desk, Rhiannon scrolls through social media. People call the killer evil. Some blame the victim. The comments overwhelm her. Jeff calls and asks for Norman. She lies and says he isn't there. Jeff says they have a name. Ryan Lloyd. She pretends Norman needs it and writes it down. She goes straight to Norman and says Ryan lived with his mother. She asks to visit the family for a quote. Norman says Jeff should do it, but she argues it needs to be done quickly. She adds that a grieving mother might respond better to her. Norman agrees, but sends AJ with her. In the car, AJ apologizes for tagging along. She says it's fine. He jokes that it's better than covering pigeons. She reminds him someone died. She opens up, saying her father recently passed away, and so did her dog. Talking to someone about losing a loved one feels difficult to her. AJ listens and tells her he's sorry she's dealing with so much. He says he'd probably fall apart, but she seems strong. Then he asks if she really is doing okay. Rhiannon admits that she gets angry. Not all the time, but the feelings build up until they explode. AJ tells her it's normal. He shares that he broke his toe after losing his grandmother. She gently calls him a monster. They reach Ryan's house. A woman opens the door and tries to shut it when she hears they're from the Gazette. Rhiannon stops her. AJ offers sympathy and explains the story. Rhiannon adds, they just want to understand. The woman lets them in for 5 minutes. She serves tea and talks about Ryan. She says he never wanted to move out and they liked having him home. His nephew adored him. He worked at a call center until they let him go, saying he didn't fit in. Her husband Al sits nearby holding a bat, silent and tense. AJ asks for good memories of Ryan. Rhiannon asks to use the bathroom but sneaks into Ryan's room. She finds a private envelope in the trash. Inside is a legal letter. Ryan had a restraining order under a harassment law. He wasn't allowed near a man named Dave Ferris. Rhiannon smiles and returns the letter to the envelope. Al appears behind her. She quickly hides the envelope and walks out. She tells AJ they should go. In the car, she shows him the letter and explains everything. AJ looks surprised. He asks why she went into a dead man's room. He says that even if Ryan was a bad person, he was still killed. Rhiannon doesn't care. She says the truth matters. She also jokes that exposing the story will annoy Jeff. They drive to see Dave Ferris. Dave looks shocked when they say Ryan was stabbed. Rhiannon asks what Ryan did to him. She mentions that people have said kind things so far. Dave laughs bitterly at that. He says it started with small things like messing with his belongings or sending disturbing links. Over time, it got worse. Ryan spread lies that made Dave look like a threat to children. Police even questioned him over family photos. Even after losing his job, Ryan kept showing up at work and his home. Dave says he should have gone to the police earlier, but Ryan made him feel small and powerless. Rhiannon listens closely. She understands that feeling. She says Ryan was a bully. Her voice is firm when she says she knows exactly what that does to a person. Dave hears her. He tells her Ryan is gone now and can't hurt anyone anymore. Back in the car, Rhiannon tells AJ he knows the real story. It's not about a perfect son. Her phone buzzes with a message from Seren. Julia is coming over for a house valuation, and Seren says Rhiannon doesn't need to be there. She curses under her breath and asks AJ to drop her off. At home, she scrubs the last of the blood from the bathtub. She pulls the bloody switchblade from the boiling pot. The door opens. Julia enters with another woman, Stella. Stella comments on the house, saying it looks old. Julia seems surprised to see Rhiannon, who says she just wanted to clean up a bit. Julia makes a sly comment about her night and hints that she should leave them alone. Stella adds that the company might move into interior design, thanks to Julia. Julia tells Rhiannon to clear the place out and contact her later. She throws in a final jab about the smell before leaving. Rhiannon heads back to the Carnsham Gazette. Norman calls her into his office. Jeff is there, angry that she went behind his back. Rhiannon lies, saying she thought he wasn't handling it and the call signal was poor. She tells Norman they found something real. AJ agrees, saying the story is strong. Rhiannon admits they did some extra digging. Jeff tries to shut her down, but Norman listens. After reading it over, Norman says the angle might be too dark. He reminds them that Ryan was the victim. Rhiannon insists the truth matters and says the rival paper would publish it. That changes Norman's mind. He says Jeff will write the story since it's his lead, but Rhiannon will get credit. Out in the office, Norman invites her to join them for drinks at the Bell pub and tells her she did a good job. At the Bell, AJ asks if this is normal. Rhiannon says she doesn't go out much. AJ calls her sneaky moves impressive and says annoying Jeff is a bonus. Norman jokes that all new hires must sing karaoke or risk losing their job. He asks Rhiannon what she sang on her first night. She says no one asked her. She heads to the bar, but no one pays attention to her. She finally gets her drink after spotting Craig across the room. A man nearby annoys the bartender, yelling for his drink. Craig comes over and says he's happy to see her. She says she wants to speak too. He starts talking about the business deal. She admits she hasn't read it. He says there's no rush, that it's simple. She tells him she's not sure she can trust him, but that she has his number. Then she returns to the table with her drink. She decides to sing. She walks up and performs Roar by Katy Perry. The room cheers, but her mood shifts when she spots the same detectives from the river crime scene. The hostess announces the police want to speak with anyone who might know something. In the restroom, Rhiannon notices graffiti about Ryan. The insult fits the memory she has of him. She agrees with it silently. One of the detectives, Marina Farrow, enters the restroom as Rhiannon leaves. Back at the bar, the same rude man from earlier continues to bother the bartender. A memory surfaces. She recognizes him as the man who delayed a nurse when her father was dying in the hospital. He finally gets his drink and makes another selfish remark. Rhiannon says goodbye to her co-workers and leaves. Outside, another detective stops her, saying people should be careful until the killer is caught. She agrees and walks away, eyes scanning the street. She spots the rude man ahead. Her face changes. She ties her hair back and pulls up her black hoodie. She follows him across a bridge into a quiet alley. He talks loudly on the phone, pushing someone around with threats. When he finishes the call, she calls out to him, pretending to need help. He walks over and she says she lost her dog. She points under a bin, asking if he can check. He smirks, clearly thinking something else, but bends to look. She takes out her switchblade. When he gets up and asks for the dog's name, she stabs him in the neck. He falls, bleeding, shocked. She stabs him again and again in the chest. He stares at her, eyes full of fear. She stares back without blinking. When he stops moving, she smiles. She slowly stands and reaches his body. The next moment, she is outside the office of Badgerton's. Posters of Julia cover the windows. She knows this is another person on her list. The next day, Rhiannon returns to the alley where she left the second man. His body still lies there, untouched. The sight pulls her mind back to the past. In the high school, Julia walks through the halls, always surrounded by friends. She laughs at Rhiannon, spreads rumors, and makes her feel invisible. Every cruel moment sticks in Rhiannon's memory. The shame, the pain, none of it fades. Back in the present, she follows Julia from a distance. She watches her bright smile and her polished life. Julia's world looks perfect, beautiful house, success, friends. Rhiannon's hatred deepens. At home, she starts watching crime shows. She takes notes. Her list includes practical steps: clear out her meat freezer, buy a tarp. She is careful, planning everything like the detectives do on TV. Craig appears on the street. He looks uncomfortable and tells her he's sorry for how he acted. He promises to handle her father's business properly. She listens, then takes a small risk. She invites him to dinner, pretending it's about work. He agrees. Feeling bolder, she goes to the mini-market and drops the rude clerk's phone into her drink without a word. Her confidence rises. Later, she nervously calls Julia to arrange a time for house photos. Her voice shakes, but they agree to meet the next evening. The next morning, she brings pastries and coffee for everyone at the office. She is cheerful, but her mood crashes when she hears Jeff didn't give her credit for the Ryan Lloyd story. She decides to teach him a lesson. Quietly, she adds a laxative to his drink. AJ almost catches her in the act. He flirts, making her laugh. But things shift when Ryan's mother storms into the office. She yells at both AJ and Rhiannon for using her story. Jeff tries to calm her down, but Rhiannon speaks up. She says Ryan was not innocent. The room falls silent. No one supports her. Everyone thinks she's cruel, except AJ, who gently checks if she's okay. Later, her mood lifts again. Jeff spends most of the day running to the toilet. She gets ready for her dinner with Craig. She looks good, and AJ notices. He tries to ask her out but loses his nerve when she turns him down softly. At the restaurant, Craig is late. When he finally arrives, he only wants to talk about business. Rhiannon steers the conversation away, trying to make it feel like a real date. They laugh, eat, and enjoy the evening. Eventually, they sleep together. The next morning, her phone rings. The police ask her to come in. She is not in trouble. They just want to speak to her as a witness. She was at the club the night one of the murders happened. The police seem to believe Rhiannon. The sergeant acts warm and talkative, making her feel at ease. Sensing an opportunity, she lies and mentions a large group of men who were acting aggressive and starting trouble. The conversation stops when the sergeant is called away by his superior. The senior officer completely ignores Marina, the second detective. Rhiannon notices this and feels a connection with Marina. They share a quiet moment, and Marina brings up her memory of Rhiannon's karaoke at the pub. The interview doesn't last much longer. News comes in about another body being found. Fear sets in. Rhiannon quickly cancels her meeting with Julia and rushes to the office. At work, AJ notices that she's still wearing the same clothes from the day before. His look makes her feel embarrassed and uneasy. With her evening now empty, she texts Craig. He replies kindly but says he's busy with a new client. She decides to go to him anyway and ends up at the meeting location. Her heart drops when she finds out the client is Julia. Julia has made an offer on the house and plans to renovate and sell it. Anger grows. Rhiannon steals Julia's phone when no one is watching and secretly damages her car tire. She waits nearby in her truck. When Craig leaves, she offers Julia a lift. Instead of taking her straight home, she brings her to Rhiannon's house. She tells Julia there's a mold issue in the garage that she should see. Julia follows her into the basement. Once there, Rhiannon tells her the truth. She says she killed those men because they were cruel and made others suffer. Julia looks confused and thinks Rhiannon is upset about the house. She tells her to keep it. Rhiannon wants something more, an apology for the bullying from school. Julia doesn't give her one. She refuses to admit to doing anything wrong. Panic hits and she tries to escape. The two struggle. Rhiannon hits her and Julia falls to the floor. Rhiannon stands over her, breathing heavily. Julia's eyes suddenly open. Detective Marina Farrow keeps her own secret list. It includes people who bother her in everyday life. Her loud landlady, annoying co-workers, and those who dump extra work on her. At the top of her list are murderers who think they can disappear without facing justice. In another part of town, Rhiannon keeps Julia tied up in the basement. She mocks her, but Julia stays calm and irritating. She brushes off the past and tells Rhiannon to move on. Hurt and angry, Rhiannon prepares to kill her, but her hands won't go through with it. She gives up and runs out, heart pounding. Julia yells after her, calling her a failure. Rhiannon notices more of her hair has fallen out. Fed up, she heads to the construction site. She makes love to Craig. She quickly throws him out and steals the office's CCTV footage. On the bus ride afterward, a man spreads his legs into her space. She leans into him and touches him inappropriately. The man quickly moves seats. Back at work, Rhiannon demands the junior reporter position. She says she has a major story. Jeff objects, but Norman gives her a trial run. She explains that a new kidnapping might mean there's a third victim. AJ supports her and teases her lightly. He shares that the last man who was killed was a bad landlord. He believes the killer might be cleaning up the streets. Rhiannon enjoys that idea and tells him to stay alert for more. At the police station, Marina struggles. She tries to speak up but gets silenced by her boss. Her superior tells her to focus on male suspects and dumps more paperwork on her desk. Rhiannon finds Julia's assistant, Lucille, and uses her to help build a source for her story. She visits the girls connected to the missing person case. Their lives seem peaceful, with no drama or enemies. She gets frustrated. The girls like her, though. One of them even shares that she was bullied once and understands Rhiannon. They ask her to hang out, and she feels touched. At the station, Marina keeps digging through the CCTV files. She finds a clip showing Julia pushing Rhiannon. Another shows Rhiannon leaving much earlier than what she told police. Julia still hasn't returned Marina's calls. The detective grows suspicious. Rhiannon visits Julia's fiancé, Marcus. She finds no tension between him and Julia, which annoys her. When Marcus steps away, she takes one of Julia's tops and a wine bottle. Her article gets published. She and AJ celebrate. Their good mood ends when Seren calls. She's angry and says a surveyor is on the way. Rhiannon rushes back and throws the man out. She says again that the house is not for sale. Later, she dresses in Julia's stolen top. She visits her again and brags about the article. Julia is not impressed. She mocks Rhiannon's look and makeup. Feeling hurt, Rhiannon changes clothes and meets AJ at the bar for drinks. Things go well until Craig shows up and acts needy. AJ leaves without saying much. Rhiannon tries to catch up but gets distracted by Marcus, who is drunk. She helps him home. He talks about how badly Julia treats him, which confuses her. She checks his phone and smiles at the messages. Back at the house, she reads the texts aloud to Julia. Marcus writes that Julia is controlling. Rhiannon celebrates the fact that Julia's life is not perfect, but everything changes when Julia breaks down. Her tears reveal the truth. Marcus is the one who is abusive. At the station, Marina gets scolded by her boss. The DI says no missing person report exists for Julia, yet Rhiannon's article suggests otherwise. Marina remembers the CCTV clips. Her instinct tells her she has found something important. Rhiannon changes her kill list. The names now include people who suddenly care about Julia. They post about her online, form search groups, and act concerned. She also adds her own name, blaming herself for chasing the dream of becoming a reporter and ruining it by writing about the disappearance of Julia. At the police station, Marina tells her DI she believes Rhiannon is the killer. Her superior disagrees. He thinks Marcus is the more likely suspect. He points out that Marcus had been at the karaoke bar the same night the second victim, Mike Roberts, was murdered. AJ visits Rhiannon's home to check in. She had called in sick, saying she needed time to deal with the Julia situation. He seems polite but unsure. When he hears a voice inside, he thinks Craig is with her. He leaves soon after. Inside, Julia smashes a plate and attacks. Rhiannon defends herself and knocks her out. Julia starts bleeding. Rhiannon puts her in the bathtub to clean her up. She sees scars on Julia's neck. Julia admits Marcus hurt her badly when she once tried to leave him. Their hate softens. Both talk about their unhappy lives. Julia finally apologizes. She admits to being cruel in school, but says it came from her own pain. She had no love at home and took it out on Rhiannon. Still, she insists she isn't to blame for how Rhiannon's life turned out. She says that holding on to the past is the real problem. At the construction office, Marina finds Julia's car. She learns that the property is owned by Rhiannon. This discovery surprises her. She asks for the CCTV footage, but sees it has been wiped. Craig is now part of the investigation. He says he wants to speak with Rhiannon. At home, Rhiannon gets ready. Julia offers to help with her makeup. She remembers how Marcus used to hurt her for not wearing makeup perfectly. She wishes things had been different, that both of them had found a way out earlier. She holds the makeup pencil near Rhiannon's eye. The chance to stab is there, but she does nothing. She wonders what life would be like if they had been friends instead of enemies. At Craig's place, the dinner is poorly cooked, but Rhiannon pretends to enjoy it. She only wants to make sure he stays quiet about meeting Julia. Back at work, Norman assigns her and AJ to cover the search party efforts. Jeff jokes around, then hints he knows something bad about her. He says Marcus gave him information. At the station, Marina's theories go overboard. She now believes Rhiannon even killed her father and used the shop as cover. Her DI grows tired of it and tells her to stop guessing and stick to the missing person case. The next day, everyone gathers for the search. Pharaoh, Marcus, and Jeff are all there. Rhiannon finds it hard to stay focused. Marina speaks with Julia's assistants and learns about Rhiannon's past with Julia. She tries to get a reaction from Rhiannon in front of AJ, hoping to break her calm. Then Rhiannon receives a text from Seren. Her sister says she's flying back and will sell the house no matter what. Moments later, Marcus corners her. He accuses her of stealing from his home. That's the secret Jeff plans to use to get her fired. Ajay sees the argument. He walks up and quietly asks why she never told him about her history with Julia. The pressure is too much. Rhiannon snaps at him and calls him obsessed. Hurt? He says nothing. She walks away quickly, not knowing he was about to tell her how much he loves her. Rhiannon follows Marcus outside, hiding the knife in her pocket. She moves closer, ready to strike, but Jeff spots her. His eyes widen as he figures out the truth. She is the killer. He runs. She chases him, but he doesn't look as he crosses the road and is hit by a car. His body falls to the street, lifeless. Rhiannon panics and prepares to throw the knife away. Her phone buzzes with a message from Marcus. He threatens her. A new idea forms in her mind. She rushes back to Julia and tells her they can turn things around. If they frame Marcus, both can walk away free. At the same time, Pharaoh questions Craig. She learns that Rhiannon might be selling her house to someone who bullied her in school. Something feels off. Craig stumbles when asked if Rhiannon visited him with Julia that night. Pharaoh senses the lie and contacts Sergeant Rory. She drives to Rhiannon's house but is stopped when Rory insists they need a warrant. Meanwhile, Rhiannon and Julia head to Julia's new apartment, which is still under construction. Julia believes their plan will work. The moment the alarm goes off, Marcus will show up. They prepare the scene. Julia is tied to the radiator. Marcus will cut her loose using the knife. Then Rhiannon will call the police. Everything happens exactly as they expect. Marcus arrives, worried. He unties Julia with the knife. Rhiannon quickly calls the cops and turns to leave, but Marcus changes. His concern fades and is replaced with jealousy. He accuses Julia of sleeping with her kidnapper and enjoying it. He grabs her by the neck. Rhiannon warns him to stop. Julia finally finds her voice. She tells Marcus she is done and leaving him. Marcus climbs the stairs, pretending he will end his life. His threats don't work. Rhiannon, tired of the drama, pushes him. The police arrive just in time to see his body on the floor. Pharaoh sees Rhiannon and Julia standing above him. Both women are taken in for questioning. Rhiannon feels nervous about what Julia might say. Pharaoh stares at her with suspicion. They both look like they could explode. Pharaoh and the DI separate the women and begin questioning them. Rhiannon and Julia stick to one story. They say Marcus kidnapped Julia. Rhiannon followed the clues, found her, and tried to help. They explain that Marcus got violent, and in the struggle, he fell. The DI believes them and grows tired of Pharaoh's accusations. Rhiannon stays calm until Pharaoh begins poking at her feelings. She talks about being ignored, being bullied, and wanting revenge. The words hit too hard. Rhiannon snaps. She grabs her own hair and cries out that she saved Julia. The DI quickly shuts down Pharaoh and sides with Rhiannon. Both women are free to go. Julia disappears without a word. Later, Craig picks up Rhiannon. They drive past Julia's place, which is now surrounded by reporters. AJ is there, waiting. He runs over and hugs Rhiannon, happy to see her safe. She apologizes for lashing out. AJ gently admits he likes her. She smiles, touched, but Craig interrupts them. Back home, Rhiannon finds a package. Her father's ashes have arrived. A knock on the door follows. Julia stands there. Her face is serious. She says she's upset because Rhiannon killed Marcus. Rhiannon promises that she won't kill again. She says Marcus being gone is a good thing. Julia thinks for a moment, then nods. They both feel lighter. For now, they are free. The night turns into celebration. Rhiannon and Julia go to a club. Music plays loud, lights flash, but Julia still talks about Marcus. She misses him more than she wants to admit. Rhiannon suggests a way to move on. She tells Julia to share her story in the Gazette. It could be healing. Julia agrees, but something still feels off between them. She pulls away when Rhiannon jokes about killing a drug dealer who flirts with them. Trying to forget everything, Julia talks Rhiannon into giving her bank card so they can buy drugs. They get high. Craig shows up and joins them. Things get wild. The three end up making out. They climb to the rooftop to watch the sunrise. In the quiet moment, Rhiannon scatters her father's ashes. She feels peace. She believes she is finally becoming the person her father wanted her to be. She checks her phone and sees that she has texted AJ, telling him how she feels. His reply comes in. He likes her too. Her face lights up. She even asks Julia to move in. Julia only gives a vague answer. Later that day, Julia visits the Gazette. She gives an interview about her time as a hostage. She describes every detail, what Rhiannon said, what she did. Julia admits that part of her understands Rhiannon's pain. Still, the conversation leaves both feeling uneasy. Julia rushes out and says she will come by Rhiannon's house later. But the visit never happens. Julia disappears again. Rhiannon finds out that a large amount of money is missing from her account. Julia has taken it using her card. Rhiannon is shaken, but AJ tries to calm her down. He says Julia might just need space. Elsewhere, Pharaoh is furious. She rips down every missing person poster of Julia. Her obsession with the case grows. That night, while Rhiannon is out, Pharaoh breaks into her home. She digs around until she finally finds the missing CCTV footage. The video clearly shows Rhiannon slashing the tire on Julia's car. Pharaoh waits until Rhiannon returns home. She confronts her right at the doorstep. Rhiannon plays it cool. She knows the footage can't be used. Pharaoh got it through illegal means. But Pharaoh stands firm. She tells Rhiannon that this perfect life she's living is fake. One day she will make another mistake and Pharaoh will be waiting. Rhiannon decides to end things with Craig. He doesn't take it well. He threatens to go to the police unless she gives him control of her father's company. Angry but cornered, she hands it over. None of that matters once AJ shows up at her door. He's smiling, glad to hear she's single. They spend the night together. The next morning, he gets a tip from one of his police contacts. It's a photo, a knife, the same one used in the murders. His face drops. He remembers seeing that exact knife on his first day at work. Rhiannon had used it to open the mail. Panic sets in. He starts looking for it around the house. Unable to take the pressure, Rhiannon tells him everything. Her voice shakes as she explains that all she ever wanted was to be seen. She begs him to understand. She says she won't kill again, not now that she has him. Ajay backs away. He calls her a monster. His voice breaks. He tries to leave. In a burst of fear and desperation, Rhiannon grabs the knife. She stabs him once in the ribs, then again in the neck. Blood spills. AJ falls into her arms. She holds him, crying, repeating that she isn't a monster. Outside the house, Seren stands at the door and calls out to Rhiannon.